What's up guys? This is gonna be my full review of the FQ777, the Eyes drone 954. FQ777 7 cubed, the Eyes drone. I think everyone knows I'm not a huge fan of the name of this one. I don't like the name of the quad. I don't like the name of the company. FQ777, FQ777. You really gotta think about it just to say it. So the big draw to this one is its compact size, and it has a Wi-Fi FPV camera inside of it. Judging from the size of this one, you might think it flies a little heavy, and you would be right. You really have to kind of get on the throttle with this one. Obviously, it's a small quad. It's carrying around the FPV camera. Got a lot of weight in there that it doesn't necessarily need in there, but it is a cool feature to have the Wi-Fi link up to your phone. I have mixed emotions about this one. Sometimes it flies great. It's basically meant to be an indoor flyer, but I personally like to fly outdoors. It's a lot more fun, you got a lot more space, you can kind of not have to worry about crashing into things. As long as the conditions are good, this one's a pretty good flyer. It doesn't seem to be too bothered by the weight of the camera, although like I said, it does fly a little heavy, you kind of have to give it a lot of throttle. And it is subject to what they call the vortex ring state, where it kind of gets in that little wobble of death. So give it a little forward pitch and you usually can bring yourself out of it. But that's the problem with the weight of this one, and a little bit underpowered for the weight it's carrying. It does fly around pretty sporty when you get in the high rate. It has 3 rates on it. I've mostly flown it in rate 3, which is the highest rate. That's because it's winter here, and obviously there's a lot of wind in the winter. So the wind can do some weird things to this one. Definitely affects the flight performance, especially if you're making any sort of turn into the wind or against the wind. This one does have a tendency to over yaw anyway. And what do I mean by that? Basically, obviously you give your yaw turn and it's gonna turn whichever way you give it input, and you'll stop your input and it kind of keeps yawing for a moment or two. So it makes it a little bit hard to control, especially at a distance. And I have had this one blown away and also lost orientation on this one. So because of obviously the small size of this one and the tendency to over yaw, at a distance when you lose orientation, kind of hard to get it back. And had a few incidents, lost it in the road one time, lost it in a cornfield. Lucky for me, there was no stalks this time of year. I was able to find it. I did spend quite a few moments looking for it though. So let's talk about the cool features a little bit more on this one. The Wi-Fi FPV, and also the ability to control this one with your smart device. So this one is going to work on an app. Once you link it up, it's gonna create its own Wi-Fi hotspot, basically. And so once you're in your app, you're gonna get a live picture inside the app of what the camera sees. And this one does suffer from a bit of latency. Obviously, Wi-Fi FPV, not as good as 5.8 gigahertz, but it is a cool feature that it can link up to your phone and you can see what you're doing on your phone. The app works so-so. I've had a number of instances where the app crashed and I lost my video file that I was recording. So obviously that's disappointing. Once you're in the app, you have plenty of features in here. You can even fly it in here with the sticks. It's a cool feature that you can fly this with your smart device. You can even fly it with the G sensor on here. Haven't done a lot of that myself. I don't intend on flying it that way. I don't really enjoy it flying that way, but it definitely is a cool feature that you can fly this with your phone. So let's talk charging time versus flight time. Flight time on this, you can get 5, maybe even 7 minutes. Winter time here, so the battery dies a little bit faster. I've definitely gotten the 5 minutes. I don't see why you couldn't get the 7 minutes in the right conditions, but myself, I haven't gotten exactly 7 minutes out of this. Gotten pretty close though. I've gotten to 6 and maybe a little bit over. Charging time is gonna take about a half an hour, maybe 35 minutes on this one. So pretty quick charging time, very satisfying flight time, especially for a Nano. and all the features that this Nano has packed into it. This one flies pretty well. You can get some pretty stable video out of this one in the right conditions. It gets blown around in the wind quite a bit, but that's not too surprising considering it's a Nano quadcopter and it's carrying a Wi-Fi camera. So it's got extra weight, a little bit underpowered, can fight a decent amount of wind, but you're definitely not gonna get like stable video in windy conditions or something like that. So speaking of the video, this one actually records 640 by 480 standard def video, and it actually records 25 frames per second PAL video, or at least mine does, or at least that's how my editing software is seeing it. Not a huge deal in this day of digital editing and things like that, but obviously in North America we use NTSC, not a huge deal, but definitely something to be aware of. As far as the Wi-Fi signal strength, it leaves a little bit to be desired. You're gonna catch a lot of frames, and it's just basically you're gonna lose the time when this one freezes, and then it's gonna kind of skip ahead to when it catches back up. Overall, it's a very interesting flyer. Got a lot of features packed into it. I'd like to see something with, 5.8 gigahertz this size, but that's gonna be an added cost. The nice thing about this one is it links up to your phone, so you're not gonna have to pay for a screen or something like that. Another disappointing thing is you can link it up to your phone and fly it FPV somewhat. It's more of a gauge to see what you're shooting as you're flying rather than flying it straight up FPV because of the latency in this one and all the drop frames and grab frames you're gonna experience. So I wouldn't call it a true FPV flyer. Very durable, haven't had any issues with crashes, haven't had any issues with motors or anything like that. So depending on which site has the best deal on this one, it's gonna come in just over 30 bucks for you. That's definitely a good price for a Nano Quad Wi-Fi FPV. You can fly it with your phone. Definitely a major plus of this one is the price. You're not gonna feel too bad about spending the money on it. Would I buy this one again? I guess what it boils down to is I don't love it, I don't hate it. It's a decent flyer, it's enjoyable to fly, but I'm not head over heels in love with it or anything like that. So I guess that's all I got with the FQ777 954, the eyes drone. I have to say that slowly. I think I said it wrong in the unbox a few times. I'm gonna say it one more time. I wish they'd come up with a better name for this. Anyway, I'm done with that. So that's all I got for this one. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If I missed anything, if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. And please subscribe to my channel. Do lots of quadcopter reviews and anything related to that. Hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and happy flying, everybody.